Hello, and welcome to the GoldenGoal podcast. I think introductions are in order, aren't they? I'm Reese.
And I'm Ollie.
Yeah, you are Ollie, indeed. And start off, this is very, very late, going and talking about the Euros.
We procrastinate too much.
We procrastinate way too much. And it turns out that all the hype for the Euros had died down, but we don't give a shit.
We're just going to do it anyway.
We don't give a shit what you want.
We've done a little bit of research, let's just go for it now. Let's not give up, we don't want to waste time.
Look, I did not spend all those at least 60 seconds of last night doing research for this podcast for nothing, okay? So I'm going to talk about the Euros, and you're going to like it.
Well, hopefully, anyway.
Drop a like, or don't. Dislike this video.
Should we get around to it then?
Alright, okay. Alright. 2016.
Probably the worst tournament I can remember. I mean, we're only like 20 and 21 years old, but...
That is the worst tournament I can remember. Like, it was so boring. Oh my god. Do you know what? It was weird, because I'd never been so excited for a tournament. I don't think
so much hype about it. It was
so
in
much
France.
hype, yeah. It's after everything that's happened in France this year as well.
You thought, let's bring some cohesion and
bring some excitement and happiness and good times.
And it brought me to sleep.
And we got fucking Pepe grabbing his balls final, like.
And the Will Grigg song was pretty much the most famous thing that happened there.
Oh.
And he didn't even bloody play.
He didn't play. I saw him play once. Like, it was. He came on, I think, towards the end of their game against. Was it Romania?
Something along those lines.
I can't remember.
It wasn't very memorable. But
yeah, it was, but I don't remember. Like that's like the state of the tournament that it was.
I think I read some of that. After 51 matches played, there was only 108 goals. That's a goal every 44 minutes.
1 goal per half.
Yes, pretty much.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, and you've got to take into consideration there were some teams that were, because of the the expansion of the tournament, there were some teams like France playing Iceland who did bloody well, where there was like 6 goals. So there were so many 0-0, so many 1-0 matches. It was just absolutely ludicrous.
Oh, it was mental. I don't even know. Like, it was just, I've literally just okay, we have notes for this. We wrote like just a brief overview of stuff that we thought, because we haven't talked to each other about this beforehand.
Reese has written a novel.
Shut up. Shut up. It's brief for me, okay? Yeah. But I literally just boring. It was just boring.
I can't really think that there had been any like outstanding matches where I thought I was on the edge of my seat for the whole 90 minutes. No, and even, I don't know whether you remember, there was that game of Portugal against Hungary where it was 3-3, and even then goals were like the only things that happened. It wasn't like there was sort of like spells of dominance. End to end,
yeah, it wasn't end to end,
and it wasn't like two amazing teams playing one another.
No,
it wasn't like a battle of two titans. It was Portugal versus Hungary.
Yeah.
And that's the most memorable match. And you think that, like, you look back at previous tournaments, there'll always be like standout matches. And this time, when I've actually seen like reviews of the tournament, everyone's been talking about the fans, not the actual game itself.
Well, I mean, that's almost where it's almost like the fans have like they've taken the stance on what the fans are what the games should have been. Where you have like, oh, this game was amazingly good and this game was amazingly bad. Like, it wasn't like that. It was these fans are amazingly good. Oh, but look at these fans, they're so bad. Like,
I think that's the first thing we've got to talk about is like the fan issues before we even get into the football.
That was just shit, wasn't it?
Like I said, like on both ends of the spectrum, you had the football hooligans. I think I've got right here, like 36 fans were arrested. You know when fights between Russia and England happened, which was disgraceful.
Happened again, didn't it, with Russian fans? I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, and then you had like the Czech Republic and Croatia. You remember when they threw flares onto the pitch?
That poor fucking Dario Serna. His dad had only died the previous day.
I mean,
and then they throwing fucking flares at him.
To stop the game, and I just don't understand why you go all the way over to a tournament and pay good fucking money just to fuck shit up. And I think Russia, I think from what I've seen, a lot of it was provoked by these Russian like hooligans that have basically come over here to make a political stance on things. And it's just a shame that is what the tournament has tarnished. Like, we're not remembering, you know, even though it wasn't that very memorable, we're not remembering the matches, not remembering the goals, because they weren't that important, but it was completely overshadowed.
Yeah.
But then wouldn't you say, on the other hand, you've had, like we said earlier, with the great fans, I mean, the Icelandic fans made a permanent impression.
I said
their chants, their communal clapping, which I think will be used in the Premier League next season, and we'll see it at the stadiums.
Do you remember in the first Lord of the Rings film when they were at Helm's Deep and you had the Uruk-hai outside, like smashing their pikes on the ground, like making all that that's what it reminded me of.
It was so imposing.
Yeah, it was like amazing and terrifying at the same time. It was I loved it.
And it just goes to show you how the fans are the 12th man, how they can have that impact.
Like, I think that's something that a lot of people don't give a lot of fans credit for. Like, you always hear pundits just like, oh well, they've got the crowd behind them, whatever. But then if you talk to actual football fans, I don't think a lot of them actually believe they make that much of a difference. Because they like, what happens when teams start playing shit? They just start getting on their team's back. When in reality they could be cheering them and encouraging them, and that they could be making a difference. I think that's a problem we have in modern football as well.
You see that in club football as well when teams move stadiums. Like we were talking the other day about when Arsenal, they moved from the Highbury to Emirates, and the fans didn't change, but it was that atmosphere you could generate there, and Iceland could generate that atmosphere in, you know, France, because remember this is their first proper
and they were massively outnumbered. They were hugely outnumbered.
It was crazy, and that's what was going to like live long in my memory, is just those chants, that team cohesion.
The Irish fans were great as well.
Yeah, they were absolutely fantastic, and it's just a shame that in the back papers and the front papers they focus mainly on the hooliganism.
Yeah, it makes a good story they've done it. Oh, did you hear that voice?
Yeah. Have a drink. Have a protein shake.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a shame. That was my main thoughts, like just the boringness of it. I mean, and we were talking about the structure, you know, bringing it from 16 teams to 24 teams. What was your opinions on that? Like
that. It killed it.
It killed it because we didn't know who we were playing. There was so much confusion and overshadowing the whole tournament.
How can a team that finishes third in their group have a chance of winning the tournament?
And win the tournament.
And then go on to we're getting onto that later. I am furious.
You're going to see and witness, well not see, but hear and witness a Reece rant about Portugal because he's not happy. But yeah, I just think it caused... For example, there were too many teams, and so there's 51 matches, and it took 36 matches just to eliminate 8.
That's crazy. That's nearly 3/4 of the games.
And don't you think that meant the standard decreased rapidly?
Did you not see England against Slovakia? Literally, all they did was put 11 men behind the ball. It was so like, and then I heard loads of shit like, oh, we can't defeat Slovakia and all this kind of stuff. It's like, if you have 11 men camped like in your, not even your own half, like beyond the what's the yard line? I can't remember. Halfway from your half, in your quarter, in their last defensive quarter, then yeah, like of course they're going to be difficult to break down. And I mean, it's not. And I mean, we couldn't throw 11 men forward because then they would just hit us on the counter.
It was very fragmented. Like, the standard football was pretty low.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah, it just seems like
doesn't that show the state of the current game though?
It does, and it just goes to show that there's a difference between like the standard between perhaps the Euros and the World Cup is just drastically increasing. Like World Cup, I think we just missed those. You missed those kind of like South American teams, like because all the European teams use the same. We're using similar kinds of formations, similar style of play, and in this tournament that was just more apparent than ever. There was no like spark. No team had a spark. And I do think that is because the standard was really low. Like you had like these big teams that would probably play more open attacking football, basically playing teams that would just be the bus. Like you had England versus. Well, we weren't that great. Or we were crap. We'll go on to another. We'll do.
We're actually making a completely separate podcast about England.
Just to rant.
Because when we would just a whole set, but when we actually started going into it, we realised that this podcast would be about 4 hours long.
Yeah, we'll be delving very deep.
It's so. We'll get on to England another time. But alright, shall we get on to our winners?
Yeah, shall we?
Our victors.
Portugal. A team that won one match in 90 minutes out of the 7 they played. Arguably would say they're the 5th or 6th best team in the tournament. I'd say France were better, obviously. Germany were better. Italy Wales. Better. So that automatically puts them 5th. They scored 9 goals in the whole tournament in 7 matches. Belgium scored more than them. They got eliminated in the quarterfinals.
Yep.
They had more yellow cards than goals.
Yep. And they had they actually had more yellow cards than goals.
They had 13 yellow cards and 9 goals. And 3 of those came against.
I wish that you could see my face right now. Like I'm
3
actually
of those were
in shock.
against Hungary.
Oh God! So basically, without the game of Hungary, they had more than double yellow cards than they had goals.
They scored 1 goal on average every match, apart from Hungary. So imagine a Premier League team finishing. If a team finished the Premier League season with 38 goals, where would you estimate they'd finish?
Last. And actually last.
And if it was a point system after 90 minutes, they would have played 7, won, drawn 6. So that would have been 10 points from 7 matches. That's like 13th, 14th position in the league.
Yeah, that's possibly like just relegation zone.
Just hovering above relegation.
Yeah.
So pretty much ending the season with about 45 points.
Yeah, you're basically what West Brom have been for like the past 5 years.
And it was just unbelievable. I mean, do you think that's because it was kind of like the Ronaldo show? Do you think it's because it was very much like geared towards their style of play was geared towards that one player, and he overshadowed them, and he overshadowed their performances, or do you think they were just pure luck? It was
just pure instant gratification and negative football, and it works. And I hate the fact that it works. I hated everything about this tournament win. It was just, Ronaldo, I'm sorry, Ronaldo didn't have a good tournament. He didn't. I refuse. I know that you liked Ronaldo this tournament.
I like Ronaldo. I think he tried too hard. I think he did try and make the tournament not all about him, but he knew that when he's at Madrid, he's surrounded by players like Bale and Benzema, James Rodriguez. At Portugal, he hasn't got that. I think he's got Nani for him in football. And you see he was trying really hard, and I do think he was good at he finished the tournament with 3 goals and 3 assists in 7 matches. That is good. That's not a bad return.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, he is the best. He's arguably, you may expect more from him.
But didn't he score any? Weren't they penalties that scored as well?
I think one of them was, yeah.
One of them was a penalty.
And I think he missed the penalty as well. So he didn't have the best tournament, but I do think he was. When they were taking the penalties, when they had the penalty shootout, he was motivating his team. I do think he was good behind the scenes. But I do feel like, the team was very much geared towards that Ronaldo, having that one style player, and you saw chances when Renato Sanchez had, where he'd pass it off to right towards Ronaldo instead of going for goal himself. It was very stagmented. It was very fragmented.
I really rate him, by the way, Renato Sanchez. I rate him to do well. Yeah, but I just don't like the fact that Ronaldo now is going to be considered a great because he's won this tournament.
Well, he's probably going to win the Ballon d'Or.
Well, that's what I mean. Why does he deserve to win the Ballon d'Or? Because of this tournament win that was all about negativity and just shutting people out and not encouraging exciting football for the people who really matter, who are the fans.
Because it wasn't almost like that fairy tale story we had with Greece, where Greece would pit teams. That was exciting. That was Leicester City. It's like a Leicester City.
They won that with the same manager, with the current Portugal manager.
Yeah.
Fernando Santos.
That, yeah.
The same manager who got Greece to Euro
It's pretty
2004.
And I mean, that was a fantastic tournament, but let's not go into that. I just think.
And they also beat Portugal in the final.
I remember that.
all the links.
Yeah, like Ronaldo got massive plaudits for his off the pitch performance. I don't think he was the best player in the tournament, which some people are actually saying. But yeah, it was just absolutely bizarre. I couldn't believe that Portugal won. And did I say to you before the final? I was like, I can just imagine Portugal winning with a dodgy penalty.
Oh
dodgy
yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
And what did you think of the final goal and how it was won? Because I can see in your notes there.
You know. Adair is literally the shittest striker I have ever seen in my life.
I can't believe he scored the winning goal.
And it was that good. Like, that's the thing, is like, I can't believe it was him.
Was it like from like 25 yards out as well?
Like, him at the 2014 World Cup, his performances in that tournament stuck in my mind because he was that bad. Like, you know when players have bad games, you just sort of like, oh, he was really shit, and then you forget about it.
Yeah.
Adair was so bad, it actually stuck. Like, it was that bad. And I was just like... And I saw him come on, and I was like, oh yeah, France will be fine. They just no men around him. Turned round.
That's highlighted how poor the squad was, that you could have a player like Kevin in the final.
Oh my god. And he was like relied on, just sort of like, oh yeah, you can make the difference, and then... But he did. That's so annoying. It's just so. I don't even know what to think of that goal, because I don't think it's even still like we're in August now. I don't think it's even sunk in that it happened.
And the final was just below par as well. I mean, France didn't play well. This is France. France must be absolutely kicking themselves with the team they have, with the players they've got.
Didier Deschamps must be so disappointed.
I mean, they were hit. I mean, they're playing their own tournament,
and they battered them.
In the goal.
France absolutely they were all over them.
Yeah,
they were all over them in that game.
I felt like when Ronaldo came off, like you said earlier, like they did slowly ease back in tournament, and as the time went on. As every 10 minutes went on, I was thinking, there's more and more likely here that Portugal are going to get something really jammy. And they did. A spectacular goal, though. You cannot deny that.
Goal.
You cannot deny it was a good goal, but...
I almost think, Hugo Lloris was sat there. He probably has the same mindset of me, just like, oh, Adair's fucking shit, he won't do anything. And, he just wasn't prepared. And he just turned around and shot, and he was just like, what the fuck? And then,
He's probably thinking about facing a penalty from Ronaldo, not...
Yeah, exactly.
Not Ronaldo, but, the Portuguese players. But, yeah, absolutely crazy.
Also, another player who got so many plaudits that I don't understand. I didn't get the whole Pepe praise.
See, I actually put Pepe in my team of the tournament. He had a very
We'll
good
talk about that later, but
This is statistics. He actually had he recovered most balls.
Which he lost.
Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Cheers, buddy. And then he had the most clearances, and he had the second most tackles in the whole tournament.
But I don't think...
But his positioning was shit. Yes.
His positioning was awful. But, I don't think that you should get accolades for doing your job. Because all he really did was just do what a centre-back is supposed to do. Really.
But remember the sort of, defence he was in as well, and...
I suppose he was beside Bruno Alves, who is fucking shit.
Exactly. Probably my least favourite player of the whole tournament, just because it's Bruno Alves.
Yeah. For me, it's tied between Bruno Alves and Stefan Lichtsteiner. I hate Stefan Lichtsteiner.
There's always those players you just can't put your finger on it.
You just can't like
because
them.
Get me wrong, he just literally just starts fights and tackles for absolutely no reason.
That's the thing.
And he's one of those players that just stagnates play. It's like someone's running with the ball, and it's playing open football, so he just grabs onto them or don't like that at all.
Also, I will say, Portugal should have been knocked out when they played Croatia. I don't know whether you watched Portugal against Croatia.
I had Croatia as my dark horses as well. I thought Croatia. I had Croatia and Belgium as the dark horses. It shows how much I know about football. Anyway, should we move on to goal of the tournament? Talking about goals and UEFA said that was it Gera's goal against Hungary was the greatest?
No, it was Hal Robson-Kanu.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Hal.
I thought it was.
Was it Sultan Gera?
Yeah, I think
was
UEFA.
It?
I think there's 2 polls, and I think UEFA had one where it was Gera's goal against Hungary, was one of them. But
it might have been Sky's one that was Hal Robson-Kanu.
Yeah.
Oh well, it was. I don't remember Zoltan Gera's one.
It was like a good.
Was it a volley?
Yeah. It was that volley.
Oh, I do remember it.
Controlled it and hit it. And
I remember that because
18 yards out.
I remember that because I remember seeing the name and I was like, "Oh, what Zoltan Gera?"
Yeah, but he's ancient, like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was like, "Is that really the Zoltan Gera?"
You know, speaking of Sultan Gera, I support Leeds United, for anyone who doesn't know. But Leeds went on a trip away to Hungary to play a team called over there. And in the team, randomly, was Zoltan Gera. It was like, it was so weird.
He used to have those, he used to play for West Brom, right?
He had those
magic moments, didn't he? A bit like that.
He never scored, I don't think he ever scored like a bad goal.
But bloody hell, how old is he?
Yeah, I know.
I remember kicked him, and you remember those old shootout cards? Did you ever play them? I remember having them in 2006, like 10 years ago, and he was quite old then.
I found one on the floor of when I was walking down to Sainsbury's the other day, and I found one that was Adam Johnson.
Oh my god. Those were the days.
Those were the days. He's still playing for Newcastle. Middlesbrough.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Someone's obviously just abandoned him.
I think we should do that as an episode once. Just have a look at I've got my shootout annual from 2004, 2005.
You actually
see where the players are now. Half of them are probably in retirement.
I should go back to my old Football Manager saves and look at the players that I had, or that have become managers and stuff.
Some nostalgia, because we're both early 20s, and so my first ever proper season I remember was 2004, 2005. So yeah, it's been kind of like I remember the 2004 Euros.
Yeah,
I remember
those were fun.
Yeah,
I liked the 2004 Euros.
So what was your goal tournament then like?
I think we both have the same opinion here. Zerdan Shaqiri.
Oh my god,
that was one of the most spectacular goals in an international tournament I think I've ever seen.
And how it didn't win, like.
I know.
Control, was it 80? Must have been 18, 20 yards out.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't even as if it was like an overhead kick from like 7 yards out, or whatever. It was. It was nearly outside the box.
It was against Poland as well, so it was like.
So it was against Szczesny. So it wasn't even as if he was a bad goalkeeper or anything.
Poland are always known for having good defences and
good
man marking because they've got a big team and Jesus.
It was crazy, and then I saw Hal Robson-Kanu's goal was like, it was just for me, and you always say that I'm the more cynical of us two, so we'll take that into account as well. I thought the Hal Robson-Kanu goal, very, very questionable defending.
It was more like, for me, a goal of the tournament should be the person that's scoring it has got the technique, he's done something special, he's up against a good opposition. It's not like inflicted by the other team. Like
that's what I think as well. Like, I would rather have even if say the Shaqiri goal didn't happen, and the Zoltan Gera goal didn't happen either, I would have preferred one of Payet's free kicks to have been the goal of the tournament, just purely because you're not being afflicted by a shitty defence, really, are you? It's just like, I'm going for goal.
This is my skill. This is my technique.
This is how good I am. This is how good of a goal this is going to be.
To do an overhead kick, it's bravery.
It took some fucking balls to do.
If you fuck up an overhead kick, you're going to get laughed at.
Yeah, exactly.
And just technique as well, and the manner in which it was done. I just think.
And this is another thing as well. That wasn't voted goal of the tournament. Yet we were talking about this the other day. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's overhead kick that he scored for Manchester United in a friendly was supposedly a stunner.
Even as a Manchester United fan, I can clarify that's probably one of the worst overhead kicks I've ever seen.
Like, it literally just fell off him.
But it's Zlatan, isn't it? Shaqiri doesn't have the same allure.
Yeah.
Then I guess Gera.
But isn't that annoying though? Isn't that annoying that's like. That is what counts, like, that goal as being worthy of saying a stunner, whereas Zerdan Shaqiri's is, like, basically forgotten about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's fair at all. In my opinion, it was head and shoulders above the rest. And do you know what I also found about all the goals? All the best goals all came in the group stages as well. There were no real great goals.
There were none in the knockout stages.
That's
oh
when you
my god!
Expect there to be individual talent.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think. Right, okay. So we're going from the quarterfinals. So what was there? There were Croatia against Portugal.
Yeah.
That was just Ricardo Quaresma just tapping it in from 2 yards out.
Yeah, not brilliant.
Belgium against Hungary.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think it was that one.
Belgium against Hungary.
Yeah.
And that was just Belgium just shitting on Hungary, but there weren't like any spectacular goals. That game had good build-up play from Belgium. They were really impressive that game.
Belgium were the most bloody inconsistent team in the whole tournament.
They were do you know what? They were brilliant for like spells, and then they just went to absolute shit. Like.
And now they've got. Have you heard who's their new manager?
Yeah, Roberto Martinez. Like.
And did you see Lukaku's? Well, they think it's Lukaku's reaction to it, and he's just like laughing. Yeah, he just looks bewildered. There's a golden generation being managed by a manager who got Everton from being like a solid top 8 team
to near relegation. And relegated.
Yeah, there was no real great goals in the tournament.
Hey, he did win the Capital One Cup. Don't get on his back.
David Moyes won the fucking Community Shield. Yeah. And don't hear about it. Like, I think he probably sleeps with it. Like,
probably.
Brushes the teeth in the reflection. Like,
I always think Wenger does that with the Emirates Cups. Like, with all his like, you know how like little siblings will sleep with like all their teddies like in their bed. Yeah. Wenger with all his Emirates Cups, just like. Alright, okay. Like, yeah, no, that wasn't, for me, goal of the tournament. Like Giroud's, I have to admit, I think it was more deserving than Hallops and Kanu. Because I did see that goal, and it is great. It's like, fantastic technique. But it just doesn't have the same kind of... Like, it's the moment of brilliance, like, that you're missing with the Zoltan Gera thing.
It makes you, like, get out of your seat.
Yeah, it's like with Zergiri, it's like a oh my god kind of goal. Whereas Zoltan is like it's just like oh that was nice. But Shaqiri's was like that was fucking brilliant. I cannot believe that he just did that. And it was a winning goal, wasn't it as well?
Yeah, it was a lot better kind of like, and it was against better opposition.
And it was against better opposition.
You've also got to take that into account.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go on to like our team of...
before we get on to the teams, I want to go on to what we got right and what we got wrong first.
So, what did you get right, do you feel?
Okay, what I got right, I knew that Spain were going to be underwhelming. I've seen this from a long time, In my opinion, Spain's era is over.
Do you think it's because like that style of football, other teams have caught up?
I think other teams have caught up. I think also it has partly to do with the fact that teams play so negatively, which doesn't go in Spain's favour.
Exactly.
At all. But also, Spain are missing... Because the thing about Spain was that they always had that core of like Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta.
Yeah.
Which were like which made their whole team tick. Their triad in the middle made the whole team tick. And... This is why I've always rated Xavi more than Iniesta, because I've always rated Xavi more than Iniesta.
Yeah.
I just prefer his style of player and all this kind of stuff. Don't like Busquets, but I really love Xavi. But Xavi retired from international football, and the whole team just looks disjointed. They just aren't. They just don't look like the team has a flow anymore. And they just clearly haven't found the player to replace Xavi yet. And I don't think you're going to find that players like that are like one in a generation. So, in my opinion, if they're going to carry on playing that style of football, which they are, because it's Spain's identity.
Yeah, they've got to have an identity.
So I think that their era is going to be... They're not going to be back for a long time. A long time. In my opinion.
Because they do have some individually great players.
They do. And it's not even as if, like, I'm going like, oh, the team who won the World Cup in 2012 in 2010 and then the Euros in 2012. I'm not like going, oh, once that team's retired, that's it, they're all done. And they've got some good players now. I thought Nolito was great. Nolito was awesome.
They've obviously got, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the world, De Gea.
Oh yeah.
So they've got they're covered.
They've got a great goalkeeper. They've got
good strikers.
Decent strikers.
I mean,
a good midfield. Really good midfield.
Fantastic midfield.
Defence is questionable, in my opinion.
I think that's it as well. I think their defensive kind, like obviously PK is like.
I think Spain's defence really let them down this tournament, in my opinion. Anyway, they really let them down.
One I got right was I honestly felt that Wales would have a good tournament. I just thought that this was their. I think if you look at Wales on paper and you look at like. It's like that team spirit they have, and Welsh teams always had this great team spirit, and I think they were spurred on. You know when obviously their manager Gary Speed passed away. I think that was. I think since then, that did kind of bring the team together and the unity together towards the national team.
Yeah. And
you could see that every single player and their necks on the lines for the boys. You saw that when they were getting qualified as well, and every match, they in the qualifiers they seemed to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and they had the fear factor with Gareth Bale, but Gareth Bale, unlike Ronaldo, he isn't a burden.
No.
He doesn't inflict pressure on players that are worse than him.
That, in my opinion, is what I personally believe Gareth Bale isn't like technically. The difference between Gareth Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo. If you put them both, to me, you have a football team. You just have to create a football team. And in left wing, or up front, or wherever, you can have either Cristiano Ronaldo or Gareth Bale. I would choose Gareth Bale. But if you said to them both, like, oh, you've got to fucking finish, like, you've got to have a crossing and you've got to finish it, then obviously Cristiano Ronaldo would win.
Yeah, he's just a lot much more of a team player. Ronaldo, I think, is just quite... That's the thing, though. Ronaldo is going to retire as a legend. Everyone knows he's a legend. And having a legend on the pitch, if you're playing alongside a legend, and if you're Renato Sanchez, and you're in the semi-final of the Euros, and if you didn't have Ronaldo on his side, he'd probably, try and shoot from 18 yards out.
Yeah.
But when you've got someone that great and imposing and shouting the ball at you, you're going to think, I'm just an 18-year-old kid. We one of the best football players of all time. I'm going to have to pass him.
Exactly, yeah. And, you don't have that with Gareth Bale. Because, we saw it. Aaron Ramsey was allowed to play pretty well.
Yeah. Ramsey, I thought, was fantastic in that tournament.
Ramsey was really good. Ramsey was good, but he wasn't... he was in the UEFA Team of the Year. I don't think he was that good, but he was, still good.
Yeah.
Because I think they really missed him against Portugal.
Yeah.
That really, I think, affected them. But allowed it... Gareth Bale not being too imposing as well allowed Hal Robson-Kanu to have a good tournament.
Yeah, and I also thought with why Wales did so well is because it was their first tournament in absolute years.
Oh yeah.
And that's the one good thing about changing the format of the tournament and letting more teams play. I know Wales would have qualified anyway. Is the fact that teams like Wales and Iceland, they like their fans proper go for it, because they know that it's not like with England where we kind of complacent because we kind of expect to qualify every year.
Yeah.
They just some of the lads are probably thinking, shit, we may not get to the World Cup. Let's just go fucking for it.
Yeah.
And I think Wales will, but obviously qualify for the next World Cup. They really made the most of their opportunity. Well, what did we get wrong then?
Well, I had more that I got right, apparently. I had a few things I got right. Do you know what one thing I want to talk about? I want to talk about Italy. This is supposedly the worst team that Italy have had in decades.
Italy are such a tournament team.
They're fantastic. They were great.
They were fucking awesome. And if it wasn't for fucking dodgy penalties.
Yeah.
I think we could have seen them perhaps even in the final.
Probably win it. I reckon they could have won it. They were fantastic.
It's because they stick to their identity.
They stick to their roles. They're disciplined.
There's no showboaters there.
No, not really. I mean, Graziano Pella a little bit, but I mean, he does that with Southampton. He's a showboat with Southampton. As soon as he plays for Italy, he's like head down. Here I go, And I
think that's what works for them. I think they love being written off.
Yeah.
I think they love proving the people wrong time and time and time again. And yes, on paper they only got to the quarterfinals, but let's be honest,
they were easily one of the most impressive teams.
I think they're the third best team in the tournament.
Did they only get to the... Oh, yeah. Oh,
Remember
yeah.
they knocked out penalties by Germany?
Yeah.
And they were the better team in that tournament, in that match as well.
True. Speaking of Germany, I thought Germany were pretty entertaining. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think they had a good tournament, but I think we expect Germany to do so well.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, coming in as world champions, it's almost if they don't finish in the final, if they don't at least get to a final, it's a disappointment they don't crack.
To be fair, at least they didn't have... I'm glad Germany played well, because then they didn't have what Spain had during the 2014 World Cup, where they went into the tournament and they were just shit.
Yeah.
They were awful.
Well, they didn't capitulate, though. They did play well, they played good football, but... In my opinion, I think Italy was the most organised team, and I think with their man, with Conte, when he goes to Chelsea, if he can bring a halfway, if you look at the Chelsea squad in comparison to the Italian squad on paper, that's quite scary for them next season.
Yeah, I mean we're going to talk about this when we talk about the
Premier League, but it just goes to show how a good manager, unlike certain Roy Hodgson.
Yeah.
When you have a bit of discipline and when you stick to an identity. I mean, sometimes you've got to develop your identity.
Yeah. You can't see this right now, but I'm doing Roy Hodgson's arm exercises right now.
Don't understand why I'm here. Well, fuck it. But let's not rant about that anyway.
And I think that my other stuff was I thought Belgium would be underwhelming because they came in with the same kind of, there could be dark horses that they did at the World Cup, and then they weren't good. So I thought they would be quite underwhelming. Thought the Islands would do well because when they have fans behind them, they can always do well. Both of them.
And it's like that case again where it's like their first tournament in absolute years. So.
Especially Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Jesus.
Northern Ireland. The last time they were in an international tournament, they. Oh no, that's Wales. I'm thinking of. I was going to say the last international tournament that Wales got to. Had a certain John Charles in their team who is a Leeds United legend. He's one of our first ever legends. He was amazing. But 1950s we're talking about there.
Jesus, I think it wasn't 19. It was over 50 years since the last.
Yeah. 1950. Yeah, you just made the same mistake that I always make, where it's sort of over 50 years ago. You're what's the 1930s and 40s?
But no, it's absolutely fantastic. So I'd say I got more wrong than I did right.
I think I got quite a lot, but I have written down the ones that I got right because I remember the stuff. But I mean, ones I got wrong. Ones I got right. I thought that Portugal were going to be shit, and they were. But I didn't expect them to fucking win.
I don't think anyone predicted that at all. I had Belgium and Croatia as my dark horses.
You know what pisses me off about the fact that Portugal won that as well? It's because you know that there are going to be a bunch of Ronaldo fanboys that are going to be I knew Portugal were going to win it.
Exactly, And it will cloud it, because at the end of the day people are just going to look at that and they're going to see 2016 Euro champions Portugal, and that's it. That's a statistic.
If Renato Sanchez becomes a great player, if Rafael Guerrero becomes a great player, if Cedric Suarez for Southampton, because he's fairly young, if he goes on and gets a bit older and he becomes a really good player, people are going to look back and they're going to be oh yeah, this was the fantastic tournament where it all started, and people like us who actually remembered it are
oh no,
that was the shittest team I've seen.
Cancel out of my brain now.
Yeah, it's so bad. I didn't think Wales were going to do well at all.
Not?
No, the only reason why I didn't think Wales were going to do well is because I had a really funny feeling that they were just going to be really up for games and really go at games, but they were going to
leave themselves
exposed and not be as disciplined as they were. I was really disciplined they were.
Yeah, that's the thing, but I thought they'd do well because all their starting lineup played regular football throughout the year. So it wasn't like with England where you
don't.
People didn't pick. For example, Danny Drinkwater wasn't picked when he won the Premier League with Leicester. Yeah. And like Wilshere played one match.
James Milner played like no time. He got the most assists in the Premier League.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. That's what Wales did. They put up some performances. They picked it. And I was reading some interviews and stuff with Wales, like going back to Wales, but like apparently just like the team, they were like brothers on the pitch. They're brothers off that they do like extra activities outside, like do all the tourist things together, like play like games and stuff, like regularly. They were just a unit, like a family.
Yeah.
And you could see that, and England didn't really have, and teams don't have that.
Yeah, it's so true. Like you look at that England team and you just go like, they look like we picked just 11 random twats out the crowd and was just like right, okay, come into the changing room and have a team talk, and then go out there and play.
Yeah,
like it was. They look like they never played it together before.
Prima donnas, I guess.
Oh, it's just the fucking. No, I want to leave this for the England podcast.
Yeah, no, let's go.
Oh, God. Yeah, what I got wrong, England to do well, because I thought England...
What was the best opportunity they had since 2006?
It's the best opportunity they had in ages.
You had players that had actually had good seasons at the Premier League, at their respective clubs.
Yeah.
What else? Croatia. I think you were with me when we thought they could do pretty well.
I thought Croatia would do
early.
great.
I think they would have been one of these teams that had they have beaten Portugal, and perhaps they should have, they would have probably got better and better and better and better.
They would have had that kind of Wales syndrome, where they start having more and more belief.
A lot more momentum, a lot more belief as it goes on and on. And
yeah. I really like this Croatia side. I really hope they do well in the World Cup, the next World Cup.
Well, I'm sure they're definitely going to qualify for that.
I hope so.
The players they've got on show.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I always thought stuff that I got wrong as well. I wasn't expecting teams like Hungary and Iceland to do as well as they did.
Exactly, Iceland is a big shot, wasn't it?
I mean,
I remember rubbing my hands with glee when England drew Iceland. I was thinking, Iceland were ranked 100th. Far. Last time we played Iceland, we beat them.
They were the lowest ranked team in the tournament.
And yet they got to the last 16. And they got knocked out by the team that was arguably the best team.
Yeah.
They got absolutely...
And they scored a few goals against them as well. They scored 2 goals.
Exactly.
It wasn't even as if they went out like, whimper.
No. They probably went for it. And when they got, like a goal down to England, like the first 3 minutes, they scored within like 2 goals within the next 15.
Immediately.
Exactly, so they probably went for it.
Pathetic. I can't believe this. We'll get on to England. Like, I really want to talk about England, but I'm not going to.
Because that's going to take probably like a fucking...
it's going to take fucking ages. Oh, or whatever. Okay, you want to get on to the 11s?
Yeah, should we go through, like...
We made a best 11 and a worst 11, and we decided... I think
I didn't make... I just said worst players because I couldn't...
Oh, okay. Well, it's right. I have a worst 11.
the negative one here, the pessimist. Who have you got in that then?
Okay, I have big Gianluigi Buffon in goal.
Absolute legend.
Because he's just perfect. Like, he is just like a perfect goalkeeper. Like, put it this way, I don't think that a lot of managers like the idea of goalkeepers being captains because they're away from all the action and stuff.
Yeah.
He is just he's just so vocal and he's encouraging and he never shouts at people for making a mistake. He'll always do the thing that goalkeepers do where they clap and they're like all right, let's go.
He's encouraging. He's not.
Yeah. He's not like Cristiano Ronaldo, where sometimes if someone makes a stray pass to him, he gets fucking annoyed and starts
the facial
flipping them off and all that kind of stuff. Like,
I'd say he's probably arguably one of the best goalkeepers of all time.
I'd say, in my opinion, I think he's probably the best goalkeeper I've ever seen.
He's just got everything. He's commanding. He's agile.
Yeah.
He's powerful. He's intelligent. His positioning's brilliant.
It's not even as if arguably Manuel Neuer is. Manuel Neuer is fucking brilliant. Don't get me wrong. I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world at the minute. But Manuel Neuer doesn't have the same kind of aura and nous that he has. Because Buffon would like. Because Neuer's a sweeper keeper, but he wouldn't do what Buffon would do, where if there's a corner and it's like out swinging, sometimes Buffon actually runs out of his goal and goes as far as the edge of his area to actually catch the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like incredible goalkeeping.
And most Italian keepers before that would just often punch the ball out as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
do you know who Buffon reminds me of? And he's a better version of this. You know how Van der Sar was very calm and cool?
Yeah.
And Van der Sar would never make a mistake, but he didn't have that. He was a fucking 9 out of 10 keeper, Van der Sar. But he never did those world-class saves.
The thing that you don't have with Van der Sar that you have with Buffon is the fact that Van der Sar was very calm, but he was very reserved.
Exactly.
He didn't really talk. Whereas Buffon, you have that calm, reserved, but he's vocal.
It's got like an equilibrium.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the wise old man that gives you that advice in a
But he's also
way.
equally the eccentric old man, like fucking Fabian Barthez, or... Was it Fabian Barthez?
Yeah, Barthez.
Oh, who's the German goalkeeper? Who's a mad...
Oliver Kahn.
Oliver Kahn, yeah. So you've got like Van der Sar and Oliver Kahn mixed into one goal. I thought Buffon was great. And he made lots of good saves this tournament as well.
See,
helped keep Italy together.
I have McGovern as
Michael McGovern was great.
He only conceded 3 goals in 4 matches. He got the man of the match against Germany.
Yeah, that's true.
And you think about the defence he was playing behind as well.
Yeah, true.
Just completely solid keeper. I mean, Tony let him... I think he faced something like 20 shots and let in 4 goals.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was reading the UEFA statistics and stuff. That's absolutely incredible.
That is insane.
And I think he had the most like...
that means every 5th shot on target that he was launched at him would go in.
And he rarely made a mistake. I mean, to win the Man of the Match award against Germany, you're talking about the World Cup champions.
Exactly.
With that strike force.
If that was like Paul Pogba or someone who got the Man of the Match against Germany, everyone would be applauded. There'd be plaudits everywhere.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh, you know. And it'd also be a bit stupid, like maybe someone would buy him for 100 million or something.
120.
Okay.
Who have you got as right back?
Right back, I went for Joshua Kimmich.
I got the same as you.
Joshua Kimmich, I thought he was so great. Like, he honestly, he reminded me, like, do you remember me telling you about Matteo Darmian when he played for Torino?
Yeah, like he could make he just knew when to run forward, when to track back.
Yeah, he's just... It's like... It's sort of... You have sort of old school fullbacks who would just defend and whatever, but then you have like new age fullbacks where they just bomb forward all the time. I don't really like those kind of fullbacks. But Joshua Kimmich had like a really nice equilibrium.
Yeah.
Where like he would get himself forward, runs and crosses and whatever, but he never got caught out. He didn't get caught.
He just seemed very wise. He
was wise beyond his years. He's young.
He's not old. It was just quite scary as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the right back is also is a position where it's just quite difficult to identify. This is the most difficult for me to identify because right backs and full backs tend not to get get the headlines. You only really hear about them when they make mistakes. But there's so much plaudits about him. I think everyone recognised him. I think Sir Alex Ferguson put him in his team of the year as well for right back.
Really?
I said, this is one you got to look out for.
Yeah.
And this tournament could be the
starting point for him.
Starting point for his career. Well, not really his career, but development of getting recognised on the international stage.
I would be really surprised if Bayern Munich didn't start him from now on.
I hope so.
I hope so as well. I really hope for his sake that he plays.
So who have you got as centre-backs then?
Speaking of the Northern Ireland defence, I have Gareth McAuley.
Yes! That's a fucking good shout.
I have Gareth McAuley. And the reason that I have Gareth McAuley was my first player on this sheet. Genuinely. He was my first... Because he showed that age doesn't matter, like, when you're a footballer. He literally... Him and Michael McGovern grabbed Northern Ireland and just pulled them through. Like, all their... Like, he just made such a massive difference in so many games. And he wasn't scared, he was brave. When people fell over after making a great shot, after making a good block, he would always pick them up and get them going. Reminded me of Carlos Puyol in that way.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, when Carlos Puyol be playing along PK when he was quite young, and PK would like...
He'd be like the big brother, like helping them out in those
That's what Gareth McAuley was like, and he was just domineering. And you know what? I'm really gutted that he, frankly, hasn't seen a move. I would almost say that he almost deserves... Like, he's at the end of his career now. He deserves, like, a really good MLS team or something.
How old is he? Do you know?
He's like 36. He's like 36.
As well.
Like 36, I think. I'm going to Google this, actually.
And you've got to also think about, like, in a tournament, it's almost quite difficult for older players because you're playing match after match after match after match.
That's the
thing. He played 4 matches in, like, 12 days? And
then you have people like fucking... Blaise Matuidi, who was like, oh sorry, I don't want to play because I'm too tired, and yet Gareth McAuley is there at the age of 36.
36.
He is actually 36, yeah, and he plays for West Brom.
Another West Brom.
Yeah, I know, another West Brom. We're talking way too much about West Brom. What is going on?
See, my first centre back, I know you're not going to like this, is Pepe.
Right.
He had the most balls recovered than any other player. He made the most important clearances and recoveries, and he did have a fantastic final. And I think that's a signal of a really, really, really good player, is someone that turns out when it matters to him, because he was the only really established, like, big world-class defender in that defence, and he organised them, got forward where he needs to be, was physically imposing. Yes, he did give a lot of fouls and uncompromising
generally
errors.
be Pepe.
I don't know if it's just because, like, because Portugal won the tournament that he got so much attention, but when I look at the statistics and, like, he created chances as well. I just thought he had a really good tournament. I thought he could crumble. You know what Pepe's like. There's 2 sides of Pepe. And I think he was a leader, and I think he was a leader when Ronaldo got injured in the final as well.
True. I mean, I don't know. I'm still sticking by my guns. I'm still saying Gareth McAuley. I'm sorry, but I'm going to take out Pepe from that Real Madrid side, stick in Gareth McAuley.
Who knows? Maybe they'll make a bid for him. He could be the new Galacticos class of 16.
Can you imagine? I would love that. I would love
pages.
Fucking like this twatty Northern Irish guy, just
like there with Zidane handshaking him on the back of the Madrid fans. Could you imagine the Madrid fans' reaction as well?
Can you imagine the Madrid fans?
They're like bloody traumatised if they sign someone like, of like Gareth Bale's standard. And who's partnering
Gareth McAuley?
Yeah.
I have Gareth McAuley alongside Leonardo Bonucci.
Okay, and what's your reasoning for that?
I just thought he was like at times when they needed him to be, he noticed when he was needed. And he really just stepped up to it and was domineering. Like, you know what Nemanja Vidic was like?
Yeah.
He loved big games, didn't he?
Getting stuck in.
When there was a big team coming to town,
he revelled in it.
He was up for the game, and he was just ready to, like, if a corner came in, he was like, no one else is getting. I am heading that away.
He's heading the line.
Yeah, he's being brave and getting things away, and that's what I really liked about his performance, is that he noticed when he was needed and he stepped up to it. He didn't shy away at all, and in some ways, I mean, I suppose that's a bit like what Gareth McAuley was like.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just, I thought that he was just really impressive.
See, I got Sigurds then.
The Icelandic.
Yeah, Icelandic.
Ah.
Okay, take away the 5 goals they shipped in against France.
Yeah.
System with defensive,
which arguably was just because France just had too much class. They were just.
He literally had 2nd most clearances than any other player, 3rd most defensive tackles, barely made any errors, commanding. One of the main reasons they got as far as they did in the tournament. Remember him against England as well.
Yeah, he was the one who was cleaning up all the loose balls that we were launching forward.
Yeah, segmented the rhythm. So should we go on to left back?
Left back, Jonas Hector.
I sort of put Guerrero for mine.
Who?
Guerrero, is it?
Oh, Guerrero. Yeah. Rafael Guerrero. Yeah, for Portugal. I just thought Jonas Hector was very similar to Kimmich.
Yeah. Didn't
really get caught out, got forward when he wanted to. And I mean, I think that Kimmich hasn't actually got as many plaudits as Hector did. Because Jonas Hector.
Yeah.
Michael Hector's different. Michael Hector is another left back, but he's a completely different player. And Jonas Hector, basically, he was the same as Kimmich, but he just got more plaudits, I think, really.
Yeah.
Played a similar role as a fullback, and just didn't really get caught out.
And the reason why I put Guerrero as left back is just because...
Say it with me, Guerrero. I'm
going to fucking Italy now. That's easy for me to say, but I put him back because of all of Portugal's goals they conceded, they came from the other side of the pitch. Like, there's the right hand side, which is the weakest
Cedric Suarez.
Which is Cedric Suarez. And yeah, he was good going forward, going back, tracking back. Like I said, didn't really make the headlines, but he did make UEFA Player of the Tournament, and it was highly noticeable for his good positioning. And he had a fantastic final.
He made the team of the tournament,
exactly.
Not the player of the tournament.
Team of the tournament, yeah. Should we move on to midfield?
Yeah, what formation have you actually gone for?
I've gone for 4-3-3.
Ah, okay, I've kind of gone for a 4-4-1-1.
Who have you got as your first midfielder then?
Or are you going to start from left to right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the left mid, I have, of course, Gareth Bale.
Gareth Bale? I have him up front.
You have him up front?
Left, yeah.
Okay. Well, I just thought he's great. Like, he's just such a fantastic player to have in a team.
Just so inspirational to the
players. He doesn't get annoyed at his teammates for making mistakes, because I think that this is always going into like just how you are as a human being.
Yeah.
He understands that people make mistakes, and I think that's great for him to have, because it's encouraging.
It's because he came from like quite a humble kind of like start, didn't it? It's like with like other players like...
Well, he was from the same fucking youth team as Theo Walcott was from.
Exactly.
And look where their careers have gone.
Exactly, like he started for Southampton. He never burst onto the scene like at a really young age. Like I think he didn't win the first 11 matches he played.
Time when he really sprung onto the scene, I remember it was when Tottenham brought him on against Inter Milan in the Champions League, and this was the Inter Milan team that had Cambiasso, Gattuso, was it AC? Was it Inter? It was AC. I think it was AC.
Yeah.
I think they played. Did they play Inter later in that?
They played Inter, and I think he scored a hat trick against Inter, but he was already.
Oh, okay. But he was already established. Yeah, that was AC that he was. Oh, yeah, because Seedorf was playing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was AC Milan. It was Gattuso and all that team. 2010, I think it was. And even then, like if you went back and watch that game, he still shows the same kind of similar things that he's doing now. He's got great pace. He's fantastic in the air. Like, I would almost argue he's better in the air than Cristiano Ronaldo. Almost.
Almost. I wouldn't say he was as good. Yeah.
Well, I think he's not, because he's not as tall.
Yeah.
Like, if he was as tall as Cristiano Ronaldo...
They're both as athletic and can get as high as one.
Yeah. And he's great. Thing is, Gareth Bale, what I like about him as a winger is that he's really good at playmaking. I think that's a really underestimated part of his game.
I mean, he had 2 assists and he scored 3 goals in the games he played.
Don't even get me started on free kicks. Cristiano Ronaldo is supposedly the greatest free kick taker in the world.
No. Ronaldo's free kick ratio.
Fuck me. Like, I'm sorry. He's one of the worst free kick takers I think I've ever seen. He's awful. Really bad.
Well, I've got a midfield of Cruz, Ramsey and Payet.
I had Cruz in my team.
What a player. In my opinion, the best midfielder in the world right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the position that he plays, he's just perfect. The problem that you have with Toni Kroos, because I think where Toni Kroos is great is where he was playing for Germany, which was basically not completely in the action, but not defensive.
Yeah, that's what I had as a defensive midfielder.
He's what people who play Football Manager. It's what you would call a deep lying playmaker. He sort of doesn't sit really far back, but he's just kind of away from the action.
So he dictates play.
He's dictating the play. He's not right up there in the action. like, I would argue my other player in centre midfield probably does get more into the action, because I had Luka Modric.
Oh, what a great player.
I think them two are equally as good as each other.
Like, the amount of great players I have for Man United not making a bid for him earlier.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Luka Modric, the balls he can pass.
And the thing is,
second to none.
it's crazy, because I remember when Real Madrid signed him, everyone was just a bit like, what?
I remember thinking, fucking hell, that's a
Well, it's because it wasn't even, like, massively expensive either.
I think it only cost like 25.
It was it wasn't 30 million, I don't think.
No, it wasn't.
It was about 25. Which, when you look at the signings now, fucking Ross McCormack has gone to Aston Villa for 14 million.
Yeah, but this transfer window is like inflation.
Yeah, we're not talking about that now because that's like, infuriating.
But honestly, and what annoys me about Modric is like he doesn't get the praise. He's probably one of the most underrated players ever because he doesn't get the praise that he does because he's in a Madrid team which is surrounded by these Galacticos, and I know he should perhaps be considered a Galactico, but he just keeps a low profile.
And it's really annoying because it's almost like he has all the technical attributes to become a Galactico, but he's... Do you know what he gets plaudits for at Real Madrid? For being as hard-working as he is. I'm sort of like, that's great. I love players that work hard to win back the ball and whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean... He's so technically gifted. Like, he shouldn't just be getting plaudits for how hard he works. He should be getting plaudits for... I mean, he's fantastic at shooting. I think that's a really underrated part of his game. He's capable... Do you remember the goals that he used to score for Tottenham? He used to, like, fucking hit it from outside the box all the time.
Screamers.
Yeah. Like, if you look back at his highlights reel for Tottenham, like, I haven't done that at all. But, I mean, I imagine you'd probably see a lot of long-range goals. His passing is fantastic.
I'd say his assists are equally as attractive as his goals.
Exactly.
His crosses, he's got a wand.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's a wizard.
He's a wizard.
He's a fucking wizard. And I did have Dimitri Payet.
Yeah. Oh, I just think what a fantastic talent. I think he scored 3 goals, 2 assists. Best player in the group stages, definitely.
Oh, for sure.
And he was that heartbeat of that French team.
I want to make so many West Ham fans mad because he's wasted there.
He is. I mean,
he's fucking wasted there.
I had him as my Premier League player of the season, actually.
Yeah, true.
He's a dead ball specialist.
He's great at free kicks.
He must absolutely terrify the goalies when he puts the ball down.
I think he's really physically underrated as well. Because he's got pace to burn.
And he's got stamina as well. He just keeps going and running.
He keeps going and running. He's a great player.
In my opinion, he overshadowed Pogba in that midfield.
He did. He really did. And also, I'm not being funny. I think that Pogba as well. And I hate saying this because I fucking hate the guy. But Pogba was overshadowed by Musa Sissoko as well.
Yeah.
Because he's not in my team of the
Sissoko just
team of the tournament.
Didn't want to be playing the championship.
Yeah, that's the but that pisses me off because he's
being like a Newcastle fan and watching that thinking.
Especially in the final.
Yeah.
When he was playing so well in the final.
Probably the best player in the final.
Probably. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And I had Ramsey as well in my midfield 3.
Oh, okay.
Just because he was just grit and determination, and he was just running at the ball. I remember him first time I saw him playing against England, he just would not give up. He was a fucking nuisance.
Yeah,
not
true.
Exactly. I didn't say he's the most naturally gifted player of all time, but he just wouldn't give up. He was
brave.
Chasing shadows,
He's brave.
putting in the tackles there. He's
very forward-minded.
He had 4 assists.
Yeah,
and he scored a goal and.
He scored I swear, didn't he score a good goal against Russia?
Yeah.
I seem to remember.
Yeah, that was it. That was the goal he scored. But great goal against Russia. He was like, yeah, he was I'd say as influential as Bale was.
Yeah, probably.
Box to box. I mean, he must have been an absolute nightmare to play against.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because he's always snapping at your heels.
It's quite sad because really, he can't play that role for Arsenal. Because they have so many players that are like that. Because obviously you got Özil and Cazorla, so can't really play that kind of role for Arsenal. No. And even if those two aren't fit, they might have Jack Wilshere playing that role.
Exactly.
So he's already 4th choice at least Like, and that's if they make any more signings.
So where would you say he'd be suited? What team?
Do you know where I think he would do really well? I reckon he would do really well alongside Johan Cabaye at Crystal Palace. I don't know why. I can see him doing really well in that kind of team. He might do really well.
That's true.
If he played that kind of Danny Drinkwater role.
Well, they're kind of like needing a couple of midfielders at the moment, so...
They replaced Kante, didn't they?
Yeah.
With that Mendy?
Yeah, which will be coming up in our Premier League.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
And who else? And who else did you have? Is that your midfield?
I have a centre attacking midfield. I didn't see getting a lot of praise. I loved him. Ivan Perisic. He was great. Him and Modric were like really running that team.
And the engine rooms.
Yeah, and he was getting forward. I don't have statistics for goals and assists, but he was getting forward, putting crosses in. He was like single-handedly taking out like 2 or 3 defenders at a time. Like, and he, in my opinion, him, Modric, and Rakitic, I think that is up there with the best midfields, like the best core midfield in that tournament, in my opinion.
And like we said, I think if Croatia hadn't...
Yeah, they were so unlucky.
At least the semis.
You know, where is it that I had this? I wrote down, because I remember reading this. It was Croatia. Guess how many shots that Croatia had in that game against Portugal? Have a guess.
14.
17.
17.
Guess how many Portugal had?
I remember them not having that many. 8, 7?
5.
5. Oh.
5. How many were on target? 2. 2 shots on target. In 120 minutes.
Jesus.
2 hours. Like, 2 hours of football and 2 shots on target. With a team that had Cristiano Ronaldo in it.
That's mad.
Like, what is going on?
My face now.
Yeah, I wish you could see Ollie. Ollie actually looks distraught. Like,
just imagine, like, because Croatia were my dark horse. I was saying to him, oh yeah, they're going to be the dark horses. You watch out for Croatia. And although they played well, their positioning didn't reflect that, and I wish it did. And who have you got up front then?
As much as I didn't really like him during the tournament as a person, I had Antoine Griezmann.
I had him as well. 6 goals, 2 assists.
He was a great striker. He was just...
And he's young as well.
Yeah, it's not even like he's that old.
And he had the weight of the country on his shoulders, you know, being the home nation and being the main striker.
Mm-hmm.
Playing against Giroud, playing with Giroud, I mean... I think he did absolutely fantastic, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him competing at the top level. He
kind of pissed me off a little bit because he wasn't as humble as because he's fairly humble when he plays for Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
He doesn't showboat all that much, whatever, but he got really cocky, and I didn't really like that about him. I think if that's one thing that I could criticise Antoine Griezmann for, I think it was that, because I think it was a little bit disrespectful to some teams, especially Ireland and Iceland.
Yeah.
Like, Ireland, I'm not being funny, Ireland shut them out. Completely shut them out.
Yeah, they were kicking them at the heels.
Yeah, like,
until the latter stages, it kind of fell apart.
I mean, they just got tired. Ireland just got tired. I mean, that was it. Like, if it wasn't for that, Griezmann wouldn't have had, like, anything.
Yeah,
so
I agree. And they had Ronaldo and Bale.
But he was a great goal scorer. He's got pace. He's got some headed goals. The kid's tiny. He's like not much taller than me.
Do you think he'll become the best striker in the world? Do you think he has the potential to? And I think he should stay at Atletico as well.
I think if he stays at Atletico Madrid, I think that's certainly a possibility.
Don't make the same mistake as Falcao. Don't make the same mistake as
Torres. David Villa.
All of them.
Well, to be fair, David Villa had a great career, to be fair.
That's true, yeah. But I think they're just like a striking-making machine.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, David Villa wasn't created by Atletico Madrid. He was Valencia.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Who was the other one? There's another one. Oh, I'm thinking of... Aguero is the other one that I'm thinking of. But Aguero, I mean...
But they do, feed... the players got better, like David got better
true.
at Atletico. So I had Ronaldo on the right and Bale on the left. Ronaldo, I think he had I'm not going to go too much into him. I just think he had a good impact off the pitch as well. I think it was very motivational on the sidelines. You could see how much it meant to him. He also had a tremendous amount of pressure. Everyone was still comparing him to saying, oh well, he's never going to be great until he wins an international tournament. And he went and did that. And he did
it, didn't he?
He was motivational. As much as he could be a burden, he's also a diamond as well.
Yeah, true. God, my voice.
We've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. Quickly run through the worst X1. This is going to be funny. Let's just...
Alright, this is my worst 11. Are you ready?
Let's guess how many England players are going to be in here. I'm going to go for 4.
Do you know what? I've actually purposefully not put England players on here. And even saying that, 2 still made the list.
I can think of the 2.
Okay.
I think it would be Joe Hart and Harry Kane.
3. 3. There were 3. Because I looked back to my list, I was like, why didn't I put Harry? Oh yeah, I did put Harry Kane. Okay, goal, Joe Hart. I'm sorry. We were talking earlier about Michael McGovern, right? He had 20 shots to face.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, 20 shots.
20 shots to face, and he saved 16?
Yeah.
Or was it 15?
16.
16, right? Joe Hart had to face 5. 5. Bear in mind, that's how many goals that Michael McGovern conceded. And he conceded 4.
Yeah.
He made 1 save. Like, I'm not being funny. I would put you in goal, mate. I would put you in goal. At least you couldn't do much worse.
I mean, give me fucking 130 grand a year in my tournament extra,
mate,
and I'll
just
do
give
that.
you whatever his tournament bonus is and just be like, go and play. You'd be well up for it.
Oh, I would. It was just... I've never really actually rated... I think Joe Hart... They say they could go. He's won Golden Glove after Golden Glove at the Premier League, but he's played against the best City defence.
Behind the best, yeah,
in the Premier League,
definitely.
For the past 5 years. You know, with Vincent Kompany at the back. Goes show how much he was exposed when he hasn't got the best defences.
Yeah.
Absolutely dreadful.
And doesn't that show as well? Isn't it interesting how Joe Hart is usually at fault when City are in the Champions League and they're going up against good teams?
Yeah, when the pressure's on, he
crumbles. Like he can't handle it clearly. Although he's probably just going to be like, oh, you guys are just fucking haters. Like just right back, I had Juan Fran. Like Juan Fran is just. He hadn't I don't mind him when he plays.
I think he's a good player.
He's a good player when he plays for Atletico, but like he
did seem a bit out of sorts.
He was way too far forward all the time.
And that's not his best skills going forward. He's a defensive minded.
He's a defence. That's why he suits Atletico so well, because he's disciplined. But he was clearly asked to go forward, so he was awful. It just
seemed that he was playing against his naturalness. So it was going against
it's
the norm,
so true.
Going against what he's not normally used to.
He was rubbish. He was just terrible. And it's the centre back Sergio Ramos. I'm sorry. Sergio Ramos's tournament is everything that I hate about Sergio Ramos. I personally don't like him as a centre back. I think he lacks discipline.
He's brash.
That's what I mean. He's extremely brash. He gets caught out a lot because he tries stupid things.
He gets angry at his players.
He gets very angry at players.
Negative effect.
Yeah. He's not, in that sense, he's not a very good captain.
No, not at all.
Like, does he captain that Spain team, or is it Iniesta?
I think it's Iniesta, but he's a big figurehead.
Yeah, he's a massive figurehead in that team. And I just thought he was terrible, really.
And who's partnering?
Partnering him is... No, I don't know whether many people actually know who this is. I had Shevchuk, who played for Ukraine.
I've heard of Shevchuk, and I know that Ukraine didn't exactly set the world alight, but can you please elaborate on this?
I went back and had a look at the games that Ukraine played, because Ukraine were probably the worst team to play in the Euros. Maybe Turkey. Turkey were pretty terrible as well. Ukraine honestly weren't even that bad. But they had a few players and they just fucked everything. They ruined everything. You had Yarmolenko, who is I have to admit, I've seen Yarmolenko play for Sevilla.
Yeah.
and he's actually a decent player. I think it's Sevilla who he signed for. I can't remember. I think it's Sevilla, but he's a good player. He's a really nice. He's a different kind of winger as well because he's got height. He's like a kind of target man who plays on the wing.
Yeah.
It's really strange, but it works. It's really weird, and I like it. It's really cool. But he was bad. He was really bad. He was meant to step up and just didn't. It was really terrible. But Shevchuk, oh my, I bear in mind, I've watched Leeds United play for a while, and in recent seasons, I wouldn't have that guy at my.
That's saying something.
That is saying something, considering that we had Giuseppe Belushi at centre back last year, who scored 2 own goals in one game once. So, he was just atrocious. Like, it was as if he didn't know how to play centre back. It's as if you took someone who played like Cam, and were like play at centre back. He just had no idea what he was doing. Like, corners were coming in, and he was going for the ball, but he wasn't like trying to head it away. It was almost as if he was trying to like chest it and take control of it, and then it would just completely go over it. It was.
So this is trying to be something about showboating and trying to be technical.
It was like what? Do you remember what David Luiz used to do sometimes?
But he's not David Luiz.
But he's not David Luiz. He's worse than David Luiz.
And who did you have at left back?
Left back, I had Lorik Kana, who played for Albania. There's only one reason why I chose Lorik Kana. In his first game, he got sent off after half an hour, and then he didn't play again. He got banned for 2 games. You
can't really argue against that.
It was such a bad foul. I think he got banned for 2 more games, or at least he didn't play in the next 2 games.
That's so true. Imagine he's been looking forward to this moment.
He's been training.
2 years.
Build up for Albania. Centre mid, one of them I had David Alaba.
He had an awful tournament.
What was he doing? What was he doing?
Again, someone trying to bite off what they can chew, trying a bit too much. And it really frustrates me when you're in a tournament. You're supposed to work. That is when you're a team. When you're supposed to be a team unit. And he was selfish with the ball. He didn't really look that bothered off of it.
It was crazy. I had Arda Turan. Because Arda Turan, I think he's overrated.
When he's like one of those players where you think everyone goes on about how good he is. You know, he had this big money move. Was Barca?
Barca.
And everyone's like, and then you look back and you think, when has I've ever seen him? Every time I've seen him play,
I've seen highlights reels of him for Atletico Madrid.
Highlight reels are like.
But like, what do those say? Yeah, what do they say?
Like movie trailers. They're just like snippets.
And they don't show the video of him throwing a shoe at a line.
Yeah.
So, I thought he had a really bad time. I had Raheem Sterling as well. What the fuck was he doing? What did he be doing in that team?
50 million.
50 million.
50 million.
Fucking million.
50 million.
I have nothing more to say.
There's nothing.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Didn't he miss a goal from a yard out?
He had no impact, literally at all. Like, he had
it's
no...
It's almost as if he capitulated from having such a good season at Paris Saint-Germain, and he's always been surrounded by good players, which makes us a Man United fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zlatan, he didn't score a single goal, he didn't have a single assist, he didn't have that impact. And normally, to be fair, he is a Swedish legend. He normally plays well on the international level.
Yeah, I suppose.
But I think he's a bit like Rooney. He's more of like he never really turns up to the tournaments on international duties.
No.
And to be honest, Zlatan never really did that much in past Champions Leagues either. I mean, he's never won it.
No.
So.
I had Harry Kane. Well, up front.
Oh wow.
But I mean.
It's his first tournament, to be fair.
It's his first tournament, but I mean, he just didn't look himself. Like, a lot of these, like, some of these players, like, I look at Ramos and I'm a bit sort of like, that's just typical fucking Ramos.
Yeah.
Like, he's being more Ramos-like.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just sort of like, okay, like, whatever. But Harry Kane just didn't look himself. He clearly just didn't have any confidence.
Didn't have any confidence, and he was trying things like with his free kicks, stuff like.
He was
very humble,
taking corners.
Yeah.
I honestly think, like, I know that people gave Harry Kane a lot of stick. I honestly think he was really trying.
He was trying, but It just didn't work.
It just
and I think a lot of that stems from the manager as well.
I think that I have a lot more sympathy for Harry Kane than Joe Hart and Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, definitely.
Because thing is, with Joe Hart and Raheem Sterling, it at least sort of like. Well, with Harry Kane, you're a bit sort of like he just looked completely different from himself. Yeah. Whereas those two, you're just like you just were shit.
Those two. I mean, I guess Joe Hart. I wouldn't have started either of those two. I would have started Harry Kane.
I would have started Harry Kane,
but I wouldn't have started either of those two. And who have you got up front?
I have. Okay. We have neighbours apparently.
Fans.
Fucking Tottenham fans outside angry that I put Harry Kane.
Just can't keep away.
Okay, and alongside them I had Milik for Poland.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember him? I don't think I've ever seen as many missed chances in an international tournament from one player.
Actually, I thought Poland would do better as well.
Yeah.
And who else?
And that's it. That was my team. I had a 4-3-3.
Miller up front.
Huh?
You want to put Miller up front?
I personally think Thomas Muller. He wasn't awful. It's just that the final product never quite came. Cause
he was quite unlucky, wasn't he?
Yeah. It's like he would take a shot and he wouldn't score, but he would force like a really good save. So when you look at it on paper and you see 0 goals, 0 assists, you think that's really shit.
Yeah.
But in reality, he wasn't actually that bad. I don't think. Because I think personally Thomas Muller played better than Ronaldo. And Ronaldo got 3 goals and 3 assists.
That's fair enough.
So
should we move on to our last section?
Last section. This is where we're going to end, and this is going to be our what we think this means. Possible implications. I think
they might.
Although, first, before we get into that, should we just say who we thought our best and worst player of the tournament was?
Okay. My favourite player was Payet.
I had Payet as well. I just thought he was all the expectations on his shoulders. He took it and played really well.
And my worst player of the tournament has to be Joe Hart, just simply because of that statistic you said earlier.
Yeah. I honestly want to give it to either Zlatan or Ramos, just purely because they come into it as these supposedly world-class players, and they play that badly. Like, that's poor. That's really poor.
I'd say out of the two, I hate to say it, it'd probably be Zlatan.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen some of the chances he missed, and like you said, and it was his last tournament as well. You think he would go out with a bit more of a high than he did. And it was so petulant that when I think he go off injured or something. Yeah. He got really annoyed and started throwing his shin pads around. And you got to think this guy's 34. Yeah, this guy's 34. I do think he'll be in the Premier League though. And what's your implications then? My implications are I think they might actually change the way they structure the game. I do as well. I think they might get rid of extra time. I think extra time completely killed a lot of the games. Yeah. I think players got really wary, got really tired. And then it got boring. And it got so boring. Like, whenever it goes to extra time, within 10 minutes, I'm just fucking praying for penalties. Yeah, yeah. And, you could see that when the Italy penalties, which are some of the worst penalties I've ever seen, this is from the Italians and the Germans. You got so many, because of the, the tournament being expanded as well, you have that extra match as well. And if teams aren't scoring or they're, because they're so equal, the standard of football was a lot more equal than it is at the World Cup. Yeah. For example, with the World Cup you have so many different styles of play, which means there's going to be more goals and there's going to be less ball draws, which can be the most boring and tiring for the players. I just think that extra 30 minutes is just too long. I don't know whether you should go straight to penalties or reduce that. What do you think? What do you think they should do? Reduce the time. I mean, half an hour, an extra half an hour. That is a long time. Even break in the middle. And the break is minuscule as it is anyway. Yeah. It's only like a 5-minute break. I don't know, maybe add more subs or just reduce. I would just reduce it. I have a similar opinion to you, but I have a different take on it. I think they should carry on going for 15 minutes until someone gets a golden goal. # shameless plug. But I honestly do think they should bring back the golden goal rule. How long did it take you to come at that? I know.
Oh, he's a fucking idiot. He's
like,
plugging his own podcast. What a cunt.
Like itching your seat for 1 hour and 24 minutes just to say it.
No, but like, don't you think it would make it so much more exciting?
Yeah, it was exciting when they used to have it. I don't know why they got rid of it, to be honest.
I know.
That was back in 2002, I think they got rid of it, so it's been a few years.
Yeah.
Maybe bring it back, because then I think it would just encourage attacking play as well.
It would, and what it would also do is it would stop all this shit where it's like, oh, they're holding out for penalties, and then bringing on a penalty taker. Like, that's so negative.
And also, players seem to look like they're going to shit themselves as well with the idea of like penalties looming over them.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why. Like none. I think there's only like 3 goals in extra time out of all like about 7-8 matches that went into it.
Pathetic, innit?
What other implications?
I had. The Euros aren't going to be taken as seriously anymore.
No.
I don't think if it stays the way it is, it's not going to be taken as seriously anymore, which is so sad because I have so many fond memories of past Euros.
Euro 2004 was probably my favourite.
Euro 2004 was fucking great.
Partly because England, I think, were the best team in the tournament.
Yeah.
And they were so unlucky. There was so much drama.
Really were.
And then you had the fairy tale of Greece. And now, I just think it's just going to lose its value as well as the standard of play decreases because all the teams are so similar now.
Yeah. It's and the implication that I've said that I hate this and I hate Portugal for winning because I think this is going to massively contribute to this. I think there's going to be a massive rise in negative football.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like defensive football's bad because I think defensive football can actually be quite exciting.
Yeah.
If it's done right. I think Italy play defensively, but I think they actually play it's quite entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it's more like you can appreciate it on like a strategic kind of level.
Yeah,
whereas
exactly.
It's not just booting the ball away and hoping for the best.
Exactly, which is literally what Portugal do.
I also think there's any like implications with fans and like the way they manage tournaments now.
I think there's going to be a massive implication for fans, but not maybe for tournaments. What are you going
to say? I think like certain I think they need to be harsher on certain countries.
Yes. Oh yeah. For certain. For fan behaviour.
Because like 36 arrests and like the fights within the stadium. I mean, we're not used to it being English.
No.
You know, watching the Premier League and the Championship and the main league. In that side of Europe, you can't have that going on.
No.
I mean,
no
tournament should bring out. Sport should not bring out that side.
No, and it's just so
tribal and dated as well.
I know. It's like a throwback to the 80s when you used to have like fucking people literally like starting fights. Green Street Elite.
We're gonna get like it's gonna be like a bit of like fear over future tournament.
Yes, I think so.
That could be a major implication.
Did you know? I think this is a thing that they're going to start doing from more Euros from now on. It's never going to be in one city anymore. They're actually moving the matches within a certain region.
Yeah.
So say if it's in France, if it was in France, they were doing it for the new one. They would have a few games in Paris and a few games in maybe Bruges or somewhere. No, I'm talking about different countries.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about different countries. So you might have like Valencia holding a few games.
Oh, okay.
You might have Milan holding a few games. Like it's in a certain region.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be just one city anymore.
Oh, okay.
In one country anymore. I mean.
But I don't know how I feel about it because I quite like the cohesion and the sort of.
Well, isn't that weird?
Environment.
Where it's like Paris, and then you suddenly see the pundits the next day, and suddenly they're in fucking Madrid, and it's like, what are you doing there?
And it's a shame that like, and think how much like money you get, like a country gets, and like you said, like what France have been through, that could have created such a cohesion and such a sense of unity. And some pricks, and I think personally Russia in every aspect of sport at the moment are a disgrace.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry if you're Russian and listen to this.
So yeah, I know. I'm not sorry at all.
Do you have any more like implications?
I do. I think this tournament is massively going to be the rise of instant gratification in football. Because it's already massively a thing. But I mean, it's like... Why would you play boring football just for results?
Yeah.
Literally just for instant gratification, and basically not being able to be patient, which is so sad because it's going to be. Because all it's going to, say Manchester United this season, they lose their first 6 games of the season.
Yeah.
But not like massive losses, and you've been in the game.
Yeah.
Say like that happens. Your fans are going to be like, play more defensively, like stop conceding as many goals, all this kind of stuff. Like, there's no kind of. It's completely results based now, and I would rather. I don't know about you. I would rather support a team that played really great, attractive football and lost games, than have a team that draws and wins most of their games, but plays really boring defensive football.
Portugal.
Like Portugal,
So that whole it was probably a lot more exciting fan for the majority of parts of the tournament than it would have been a Portugal fan.
Well, this is why I argue. Like, I don't think that the year that Mourinho last won the league with Chelsea, I would be more excited to be a Tottenham fan during that time, because they weren't winning games, but they were at least kind of nice to watch.
It's like playing the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than winning ugly.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing well rather than winning ugly.
And I think that's all I really have, apart from the fact that I think Portugal are going to be worshipped with no grounds, with no grounds to worship.
So basically, our views are made the tournament, but they also ruined the tournament, and that potentially the Euros aren't going to be as well valued.
Yeah, they won't be.
To be. Well, thank you for listening. Well, if you're still here,
if you're still here, well done you. You can have a favourite from us on Twitter. Tweet us at GoldenGoal if you listened all the way through, and we'll give you a favourite and a follow.
Yeah.
Because fair play to you, an hour and a half listening to us. But thank you for listening. Honestly, we'll be back hopefully soon with
Premier League review.
We're coming with Premier League previews, but first we're going to have to do our episode on England because there's too much to say. There's so much to say.
If you can last, it would probably be like a Lord of the Rings episode, like 3 hours long.
Yeah, probably. Fucking, we have to break it up into episodes.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Anyway, thank you for listening. Like the video, subscribe if you want to see more of this, and thank you for listening. Bye bye.
See ya.